Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here to show you this game. It's called Ceti. I'm not going to take a long time in this introduction because I'm going to take a lot of your time to show you how the game is played. This is yet another wonderful 4X space-paced game. I am a total sucker for these games. I love them to death, and this one is no different. Let me show you how to play Ceti. It's going to be difficult to show you everything. I'm probably going to forget a rule or two, and I do apologize for that from the get-go. But this is it is a rules-heavy game, but it is well worth getting through all those rules to play this space opera epic, if you will. So, all right. So let me show you how to play the game, and then we'll come back here and I'll tell you exactly what I think. This is Ceti, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to tell you every single possible rule, but I'm going to hopefully give you a really good idea of how the game is played. I've gone ahead and set up the map. I have the two major tracks. One of these is this is like the points, and you just move your little, as you would guess, on the point track. Over here, this is the turn order, what you have, and also this is the market. When things become become worth more or cost more, you'll move these figures up to show that they are more expensive if you're trying to buy them or sell them, for that matter. On the board, you can see that each person's got their ship and they're on their home planet. Each planet has a starting a commodity that they are looking for. That commodity, that chit there, is what is in high demand, and so if you can deliver that and sell that particular commodity on the planet, then you can make a lot of galactic bucks, if you will, by doing so. Which is important because money is actually, well, it has a lot to do with it. It supplies you with the energy that allows you to take your actions during the turn, but it also, it is worth points at the end of the game, and it is a very viable strategy if you just try to collect as much money as possible. It's a viable strategy to try to win the game. You'll notice there are some other markers on these. These are exploration tokens. When you go onto these tokens, you will flip them over, and then if you decide to explore, and the color will either be blue like this. Let's see if I can find a red one. There we go. Awesome. And then, or they'll be red like this one, and that will tell you there's two decks of cards. Maybe you can't quite see them here. I'll grab them. They're either red or blue, and those are the exploration missions, and I'll kind of explain that more fully later on, but that tells you what kind. Red technically are more risky, but the rewards are greater if you can take care of them. There are two other decks here that have the exact same back, but they are actually in fact different. One of these decks is a crisis deck, and crises possibly occur on planets and on your home planet, technically, because it can be bad because it can affect you and also can affect other people as well. And then there are these that are specialist cards, and the specialist cards allow you to combat those particular crises, and also if the players hold on to them, they can give them little special powers as well when they're playing the game. And I'll once again get to that in just a little bit. I just wanted to make sure I showed you everything that you're seeing in front of you. Each person will get, this is their starship and battle plan, if you will. Up here, these are the different things that you have. You have your guns and your shields. This is your technology. These are obviously all the different types of systems that your particular ship has. Logistics system, and so on and so forth. This is your propulsion, so to speak. And so, and then you can increase those. See how this one has two weapons there. You can possibly get better weapons, you say this orbital beam here, and then you'd place that over there like that, and you could improve your power. And the dots on there tell you how many dice you get to roll, depending on the certain things that happen and the actions that you take. They're also on here. There's a track down here that you will be using these two particular rondels, if you will, to track both the energy and the money that you have. And these up here are like where you'll put tokens if you actually get more and more money. And once again, I said that's a very viable strategy if you want to go for a higher amount of money. There's a lot of stuff on here. Each one of these off to the side, this is where you'll be setting a lot of these cubes to start the game. And what you're going to be trying to do is you're going to be trying to turn these cubes. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but just trust me. You're going to try to turn these cubes. These, and they represent science. In this particular case, science, diplomacy, and military. Let me just show you like another player card, if you will. And this one, as you can see, it's diplomacy, energy, and technology. But you are going to be trying to get these cubes that are going to be all over. I can't really show you because I can't. I'm holding it. But each one of these spots will be covered in a cube. And you're going to be trying through actions to get them over to this spot. Because once you fill them up over here, you can then turn those 4 cubes into like different resources. And most importantly, you can turn them into influence cubes. And influence cubes allow you to influence different economic strategies and also influence areas of space that you can have either culture or economic influence over. And those are give you benefits during the game, but also will give you points at the end of the game as well. So I apologize once again. Like I said, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I just wanted to show you. And just in case you're wondering, these red crystals are used during the combat to show damage that's been done, and also lingering damage. Like, so if you get out of a combat and say like you took 2 damage to your weapons, you leave those on there until you're able to get those repaired. So you can show that. And if you obviously then, if something like your propulsion, this ship has a propulsion of 2. If you have this 1 on there, if you have this 1 on there, like I said, your propulsion then would go down to 1. Like, it actually reduces the power. And like weapons, have less, or shields have less, depending on the damage that they've been taken. On this card, gosh, I keep forgetting this. On this card, you will also have 4 discs, and they go, they go right there. And when you'll be taking actions, what you'll be doing is you'll be moving them up into these action spots over here. You can get up to 2 more actions through different things that happen during the game, and also you can lose actions. You can lose an action if you have a crisis that affects your home planet. Finally, before I actually show you the different phases and everything in the game, you also will get a captain card that will designate which captain you have. And on the back of the card, it'll tell you, like Captain Borzon, it'll tell, give a little flavor text, tell you what your skill sets are, what your special ability is, and any bonus. You'll get 1 galactic point each for each specialist card held at the end of the game. So he gets extra points for that. And so, just each one obviously is just a little different. So like, Dr. Karenji is, he says, can resolve a biohazard crisis with 1 biohazard knowledge token. I'll explain that in just a little bit. And then they get +1 for each crisis card held at the end of the game. So, alright. So, at the beginning of the game, at the beginning of each turn, you have what is called the Enlightenment phase. And the rules actually state, at the beginning of each turn, everybody should clap to show that you're like, like a new year or whatever has spawned, or a new day or whatever, and you are excited to see what would happen. So, what you will do is, this is the crisis deck, and so you're going to take one of those cards. I'm just going to put it in the middle of the board. Normally you wouldn't put it in the middle of the board. You're going to take one of those and put it in the middle. You don't know what it is. And then you're going to reach into this bag, and this bag has 4 cubes of each color. And these are the Enlightenment cubes. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to draw 1 at random. And so we get purple. And so what that means is that purple is, you're going to take this and you're going to put that purple cube on top like so, and purple is going to be the planet that, if the crisis occurs, it is going to affect this particular planet. So, what then happens is that each player will get one crisis card, and they will get one specialist card. And what each person will do, and I'm just gonna, because we're playing a 5-player game, I'm just gonna grab them all for each player. And what each player has to do is decide, because they have to play one card, they have to decide, like if they're going to put in, like a card that will cure. Oh, I'm sorry. We actually get to see what the crisis is. I'm sorry. What I should say is that one character, if Captain Honor, the character that's playing Captain Honor, has it, they are able to look at this card, the one down card that's the crisis, and they're able to see that before anybody else. And so if we look at this, we're going to see that it is an equatorial shift. It affects industry. And, I should say it affects if captains who have an industry specialization lose one geophysical knowledge token if this comes into effect. And, it kind of gives a little background. And if you want to fix it, you're going to have a card that matches that particular icon that's there. And so we're going to go ahead and we place that one, as I said, we place it back down there. And then each person has both a specialist card and a crisis card in their hand. And so we know that purple is going to be the planet that could possibly be affected. And so since there's 5 players, each player then has to decide if they're going to put a crisis card or if they're going to put a specialist card in. Now, this is kind of one of those weird things where sometimes people will want to, like, there's that race that gets bonus points for having crisis cards in their hand, and there's situations where they might want to hold on to the crisis cards, in case, for later use. But so what happens is that people have to decide, and this is like kind of an open negotiation. They can say, please, just try to save me or whatever. But, usually when we played, people have been kind of jerks. And so what happens a lot of time, unless there's a reason for somebody to hold on to it, like a specific reason, more crisis cards get placed in, and you're going to figure out. So in this case, let's say 3 people put crisis cards in, and 2 people put the specialist cards in. And so you put those cards in, and you're supposed to shuffle them up so you can't see who put what in. You turn them over, and you're going to look and see what you have. And so in this case, we have these 4 are crisises, and then we have these 2 that are to fix. These are specialists that could possibly cancel out one. So the physicist will cancel out the nuclear meltdown. So we can go ahead, because those 2 match. And so we take those 2 and we get rid of them. And the chemist doesn't match up with anything. And so we're going to take the chemist and we're going to put him aside. I just want to show you the chemist real quick here too. Like this specialist, it can prevent a chemical crisis if it's played during the Enlightenment phase. In the action phase, it can be used to combine with one chemical knowledge to resolve a crisis. So if a crisis ends up being put on a planet, you could go ahead and take care of that. And if you do that as an action, you get 3 victory points for doing that. So that's kind of important. And during combat, you can counter corrosion from an attack. So if it's one of those, it's a little special ability that he has, and you can be used in combat. And this little marker down here says you can use that ability 3 times. If that marker isn't there, it can be used as many times as you want. But in situations like these, you're discarding the cards. Those don't really have infinite uses either. So we have the 3 that are left. We have a Laminaro Ray, a solar storm, and we have the equatorial shift. Now, all 3 of these aren't going to happen. What you're going to do is you're going to look at the bottom, and you're going to look at for the numbers, and we have a 1, a 6, and a 30. So you're going to take the highest number, and you're going to take that one. Now, if one of these icons have been played, and only one, you would have 2 with the 6 and 1. It doesn't take care of both of them. It takes care of the one with the lowest number, and so that one would be gone. Just as an aside. But okay, so you have this. This is what happens. So you have the effect. And then so that happens. Everybody that has an industry specialization, which would lose a geophysical knowledge token, and so they would if they had one of these tokens that they had gotten through an interplanetary mission or through other means as well, they would have to get rid of that. And then that's on the right spot. And then you go ahead and you grab one of these tokens over here. like so, and you're going to place that on that planet. And purple immediately loses an action token for having a crisis on their home planet. And so you flip this over, and then you look, and so that is the icon, the industry icon. You go ahead and place that on there like so, and you increase the like value or like the need for that particular icon. So now these things, this because the higher the tokens get up, the more expensive things are. That's going to affect the buying and the selling of those items because of that. At that point, you have completed the Enlightenment phase, and then you can now move on and go on to the actions. So, action phase is the bread and butter of the game. Most people are going to have those 4 actions, as I showed you. I'm not going to go ahead and grab that sheet and show you how that works again. But each person will be taking an action in turn. The first thing you do is each person is going to roll a die. Whoever gets the highest roll will be the first player. And then they will place this token in front of them, showing them that they were the first player, and then the person to their left is the next person to go, and so on and so forth. So each time you can do an action, it's just you take your action, and then the next person goes, and so on and so forth. You do it one by one. So there's lots of actions. Most actions cost energy in some way, and there's some minor actions that don't. But they do like cost action. So if you want to move, it costs energy to move, and that is an action. And so you check and see what the propulsion of your ship is. In this case, like the green propulsion is 2, and then you can move through sectors. If you move through a sector that has like cosmic rays or asteroids, your ship can take damage, and you have to take that into effect. Usually that requires rolling of these like success dice, and you'll be rolling these a lot. On 2 sides they have that, and that shows a success. The number usually will denote like the amount of damage you take or something like that when you roll them. And so, like, if you wanted to move 2, you would just go through 2 sectors. So you could go, like, you can move 2, but you can choose not to move 2. Like, if you just wanted to move 1, you can move there. If they wanted to move 2, they could go through the cosmic ray and then go to that spot, and of course roll for the possible damage of going through the cosmic ray. But let's say they just, green wanted to move there. That would be the long and short of the movement. Now, if you ever run out of energy, you can't obviously do anything, but you can buy energy at planets. If you ever run out of money, so you can't buy energy anymore, you can, in fact, then go ahead and go into what's called bankruptcy, and basically you give up everything. You give up your commodities, your influence tokens, so on and so forth, and you immediately get 10 money, which then you immediately must use to purchase energy. So that's it's basically, if you've run out of both money and energy, you aren't just stranded and floating through space, and that's the whole purpose behind that. So after that is basically the move action, and you're going to be moving to the different spots so you can do the actions in that particular location. So you can decide to explore, and now we have the green guy here, right here in this explore area. So we can just say, as an action, they can say, I'm going to explore. You turn one of these over, okay, and then you see blue, and then you would draw, a blue exploration. And so then it says here, you have found remnants of a possible biological agent on an asteroid, which would pose a serious threat to all life in Ceti. Use your military skills to destroy the agent. This is one of those things where hopefully you have a military skill and you're able to complete this particular location. And what you will do is then you will roll dice equal to your military skill, and you will attempt, by that roll, you will attempt to get one of those like positive icons. And then in this case, I rolled 2 of them, lucky enough. And so then you would get the bonus here. It's like, then if you roll one of those, you get a biohazard knowledge token. And so since you rolled one of those, then you as a result, you would get one of these guys here. Just so you know, the biohazard tokens are used to, like obviously you combine these with a specialist to remove those from a planet where that is. But on the back, there's usually a money, and this is worth 4 money, and you can sell this actually at a planet and earn that money for doing so. But so then, green would earn that in that particular spot by going through the exploration. Now, as I said, the blue ones are technically easier and not as difficult to succeed at, but the red ones offer better. So I'm just going to show you a red one real quick. A rare artifact. While probing the surface of an old space station, appears to have secret information about future chemical crises. Use your technology skills to decipher the data, and then roll. If you get a result or a victory, earn 1 chemical knowledge token and 5. If unsuccessful, you lose 3 money. 5 tau is it's called, or 3 tau, and so so those obviously have a negative impact if you don't succeed. As an action, you can repair your ship pretty simply. If you are on a planet, you pay 1 money to remove 1 red crystal off of your ship. If you are in the middle of space, you have to spend 2 to remove 1. And this because you're basically paying an engineer to fly out to your ship to fix it. You can refuel. It doesn't cost you anything, but it immediately gives you 2 energy. And when you do that, it takes but it takes an action to do it. And so you just and when I'm saying like costing and energy, you will have on the bottom, as I said, on there that chart, and it goes up to 20, and then you use that to mark your energy gain and loss. And notice, if you ever decide to pass and not take the rest of your actions for whatever reason, you just don't need to use them or whatever, you do get a tau for each past action that you do. So you can make a little bit of money that way. All right, so produce. This is the big thing about how you move these cubes over to there, that you can then turn them into influence cubes. What you will do is you are going to roll these dice once again, and for each success, you're going to move 1 of those cubes. Let me show you an example. So if you have, and I apologize that it's kind of, this is going to wobble around here. I'll just put it down actually. If you have your 4 cubes in covering, dang it, these 4 science spots here, what you will do is you will take 4 of these dice, and then you see how many. Now I got lucky, I got 3 of them. And so what you do then is that then you reveal all but the last one. So you'd have 1 still in there, 2. You total up how much you revealed. So in this case, it's a 0, a 1, and a 1. And so that is the 2, and then you multiply that by the current value of what the science is at. So if it was at 4, it would be 4, obviously, so forth. Whatever the science value is on the market, and you have to pay that. So in this case, it's 2 times 1, so you're going to pay 2. And then you get to move those particular cubes, those 3 cubes, over onto this location. Now, when they're over here, you can use them, you can convert them into commodities, but then you convert them into a science commodity. So like if it was something you wanted to go to a planet that was, that you had like to show that they had a shortage of that, and so it was worth more, you can then get you can convert those to do that. Doesn't cost you any energy to do, but you also, what you can do is once you get up to those 4, you can then convert them into a influence. And when you convert them into an influence, what you do is you take a cube of yours, and this is one of your Enlightenment cubes. You take one of those, and you're going to place it on a spot on the board where they're on a planet where there is an economic. You can put the economic influence, and so like you could put it on that science spot right there. Now the reason you do that is 1, it's worth points at the end of the game, and 2, it allows you to be able to trade for that particular resource or that particular commodity, at a cheaper rate, and and at a significantly cheaper rate. Because normally, when you buy and sell those things, you have to take into account the value of the market as well. But when you have, if you have control over that particular spot, economic influence over that particular commodity, then you don't have to worry about the market because you have like some sort of monopoly over it, if you will. So I should mention, I forgot to mention this. You do, if you successfully if you successfully investigate two locations that have the two nodes in there, you can establish cultural control over the location. Once again, you'll take that out of the Enlightenment Cube box bag, and the cultural control is worth points at the end as well. Now that can be stolen from you, and you can then extend your cultural control over other areas that are connected as well. You can't extend it to other planets, but you could extend it to other zones of the planet that you have to like show more cultural control and get more cubes out there. And then the more cubes you get out, and the more influence cubes you get out, the better, because one, you're taking them out of that bag, so the bad things can't happen to your planet. But also, like I said, it's worth points at the end of the game. All right, so after the producing the produce action, you are able to do upgrades, and upgrades are upgrading the systems that your ship have. You just when you want to upgrade, you have to pay pay the amount in resource cubes, and resource cubes, remember, are the cubes that are over on this location. You pay the cost in resource cubes for the value of the upgrade that you're going. So if like you wanted to get like this, teleportation, the value is 4. So you'd have to spend 4 to get that particular slot, and then like the orbital beam is 3, and so on and so forth. Now, if you want to like re-upgrade something that you've already upgraded on your ship, you don't have to do that. You just have to pay. It's a minor action, and you subtract the power difference of what you've already upgraded. So if you go to 3 to a 4, it'd be a 1, and you have to pay that in just tau. You just do that. You don't have to actually go through the process of using the resources. And this is one of those things about, as I played the game, I came to realize that when you're spending a lot of time getting your cubes over to this location, but the thing is that there's so many different things you can do with them once they're over there that you have trouble deciding what you want to do with, because obviously you want your ship to be better because you're going to be involved in a lot of combats as you play this game. So if you're on a planet, you can go through. You can buy commodities or energy. Energy starts off being really, really cheap. It just costs 1. And you can get it. You pay 1 to get 4 energy. But so like, and then it'll increase to 2 if something happens, and so on and so forth. And later on, you're going to be paying 4. You're paying 1 for 1 at some point. Now, at the beginning of the game, and I should have mentioned this, you have the option of taking this token, which shows that you have an energy contract, which means that for the rest of the game, no matter what level this is at, you're going to be paying 2 tau for 4 energy, no matter what. So if it's here, you're getting kind of a bad deal. Here, it's neutral. But if it ever climbs up into this or here, you're going to be actually making out on the deal, and that's kind of up to each person when they start the game. So if you are going to buy the commodity, if there's low demand on the planet, meaning it doesn't have this icon, and you want to buy the commodity, you have to. The price is going to be the is the market level by 1. So if you wanted to buy science and it was at 4, it would cost you 4. To buy that commodity. If it is in high demand, it's that level times 2. So obviously, unless you have a really big reason why, you probably aren't going to want to go to a place where it's in high demand, where you're going to want to buy. You can also sell commodities as an action, and it's the exact same thing as you probably think. That if it is in high demand, you're going to get 2 times that level. If it is in low demand, you're going to get 1 times that level in the amount of tau. If you, no matter whatever, whenever you sell a commodity at a planet, you are going to, if this gets sold here, you're going to take that particular icon, and I have these in a mug, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to grab a brand new icon to show what they're looking for. And so you just put that, and there's the commodity that they're looking for, and you go ahead and place that on that planet. And so then it has changed what it's looking for. And so sometimes you'll do a sell on the planets just to change it up. You know, hopefully, like if you have a lot of a certain commodity and you're trying to get rid of them, you know, then you do that so you can get a chance to maybe get something and sell it and make some money off of it. You can do an interplanetary mission. These are these cards over here. When you take an interplanetary mission, you'll take 3 cards, and you'll pick one of the 3 cards, and you'll shuffle the other 2 back into the deck on the bottom. And these are like minor actions that you'll have to process, and sometimes they're pick up and delivers. And this will get you some sort of a bonus. So here we have announce, activate code 737 Alpha Zulu. Use your diplomacy skills to activate. If you roll a success, you earn any 1 knowledge token. And you can only take these at planets, actually. Use your diplomacy skills to persuade the TCA the biohazard will stay in safe hands. Earn a biohazard knowledge token. And then this one just earns 6 tau. The one thing that you have to take into account is that if you take a pick up and deliver mission, you have to find out whether or not you are going to be carrying it illegally. You have to roll on your logistics skills, and if you get a success, it means that you can transport that particular item legally, and you don't have to worry about it. If not, you're taking it illegally, and when you deliver it, you have to roll 1 of these dice. If you get a success, God, I'm just rolling tons of successes. If you get a success, you manage to smuggle it perfectly. If you don't, you have to pay that fine. Whatever you rolled, you pay that fine in doing it. And finally, the last thing you can do is you can reverse engineer, which will allow you to turn any commodity into a resource unit. And the reason why you do that is just because maybe you need an extra resource unit to like purchase an upgrade, or you know, and so you would take, you know, whatever commodity you were carrying, like this one, you return it to the cup, not that one obviously, and then you would just, you know, add the resource cubes, you know, over into the areas on the side of your board. So that is the different actions, you know, in a real high overview of them all. But the nice thing about the actions is that, like I said, one, you know, they're right there, and they're easy to figure out what they do, and how, you know, what it costs you to, like, you know, what each one it is, and they kind of list them out. And the fact that you have your little icons here, or your discs to place them out, it's pretty simple and straightforward as far as that's concerned. So, and it moves really quickly. Once you know what each action does and how it works, players' turns, this isn't a game where you kind of sit around and wait for the other person to do what they're doing. It moves along really quickly. All right. So, combat. Combat's going to occur in any sector of space where one isn't this icon here, and 2 ships meet. And if 2 ships are in the same location, a 3rd ship can't enter. So you can't have 3-person combat. Or it occurs when you have a ship enter another ship that has a culture influence icon on there. And, you know, that is, you still get to defend that as the player. And so you'll enter that, and that's to attempt to take this cultural influence and replace it with one of your own cubes. Combat is quite simple, actually. So just let me quick set up something so you can show it. I'm just going to move a couple of these things out of the way. So combat occurs between 2 ships. I'm just going to kind of set them up quickly, one against the other, like so. And so what'll happen is that each player they might have upgrades and stuff up here, but I'm not going to show those right now. I'm not going to add any. And each player will have, because of the fact that they just got done with their turn, they're going to have, most likely, their 4 discs, like so. And depending upon their uh, their shields and their ability, they're going to have a certain amount of defenses they can raise. So looking at these two ships, just at a glance, you can see that this one has 2 shields and this one has 1. So each player is allowed to take those particular shield icons and place them wherever they want. They can even double them up if they want to. And so if you don't want things to get destroyed, you want to protect them, you want to be able to shoot, so you put, you know, a shield over your guns there. And green gets 2. And so, you know, they're going to go ahead and place 1 on their shields and 1 on their weapons. And so, if green was attacking purple in this situation, what will happen is that purple gets to fight first, because they're the ones that are going to be defending. And so, what will happen is that they just roll a die, and whatever they roll is the thing that they're affecting. So, and it's, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so in this situation, he hit number 1, which is, you know, the weapons, and you notice the shield is there. 1 hit on 1 shield, nothing happens. And so then the other player then is going to take their 2 dice, and they're going to attack. And we got a 2 and a 6. And so in this situation, what we have is both 2 and 6 have gotten hits on them. Now, normally you'd think that purple's going to lose here, because one way, either one player will retreat because they don't want to take any more damage, or one person loses all of the damage to one of their systems. And so they only have 1 hit on either of their shields and the logistics that are over here. But, you know, all technically may not be lost because of the fact that you do have computers. And you can, in this case, he has 3, you know, in this location here, and that is your one last defense. And if you can match what the other person rolled, and as far as damage, if I can get a 2 and a 6 on these dice, I'm going to block those hits. But let's see if we get lucky here. Well, I got a 6, which is going to block the one that is going to come in and get my logistics, but unfortunately, I'm unable to block the one that comes in and hits the shields. And so the shields would take 1 damage. That system is completely destroyed, and then purple is going to have to bow out. And for winning a combat, green will get victory points as well for that process. Combats are quick and brutal. And they are, like, I think that's good though, because of the fact that then other players aren't standing around waiting for like giant dice chuck battles to get done with, and you can move on, you know, and get on to the next phase where you can go through the whole process again of going through the Enlightenment and the action and then battles if need be. The game continues until you get through all 10 rounds. At the end of the game, the game turns with after the 10th round, you roll 1 battle die. On a 4, 5, or 6, you will go 1 more round. At the end of the round 11, you roll it again, and on a 5 or 6, you go 1 more round, and then it's done for sure. And that's actually limited, specified there. So the game might not be over at 10, which is also, I think, a pretty good rule too, because that way people can't, you know, just play for that last round, if you will. You then can go through your process of sort of how many points you get. So you've gotten points throughout the game from doing certain things, you know, like battles and what have you. And then at the end, you will get your bonus that your particular person gives you. You've gotten your things for when you go to planets and solve the crises, you got those victory points as well. And at the end, you've kept all the exploration cards you found. I should have mentioned that, but for every 4 exploration cards, you get 1 victory point. For every 5 money, you get a victory point. And your influence cubes you held at the end of the game, you get 2 points for each economic influence that you still have that surrounds those planets. You get 3 for each cultural influence, and if you have all 3 economic influence on your own home planet, you earn an additional 2 victory points for that. So Then whoever got the most points, wins this battle for this sector of Tau Ceti, if you will. And perhaps they're the most enlightened, and now I think everybody should have to clap for them. One last. But, all right, so thank you for sitting through that. I know it was kind of lengthy, and I apologize if it didn't tell you every single rule, but you definitely can go ahead and check out the Board Game Geek page and also the Kickstarter page, and you can find out more about the rules and some really good walkthroughs as far as some of the different aspects of the game as well. Well, let me tell you more about Tau Ceti in my conclusion. Well, thank you. As I said thank you at the end of that, and I'm going to say thank you again. Thank you again for watching the gameplay portion. I do apologize. It may not have been totally cohesive. I kept on remembering rules as I was describing the game, and then like having it come back to me, and then, but neither here nor there. The game is one of those things where, like, the first time you read the rules, you're like, huh? And then, but you have to sit down and play it, honestly. And the first time you sit down and you play and you go through the process of, like, each person doing the different actions and taking their different turns and realizing, why you want to convert your cubes that are your special skills, and why you want to, change things and take over this planet and have cultural influence and all these different things. Once the game kind of opens itself up to you, it really starts to shine, and it really begins to blossom. And it's got everything that I want out of a Space 4X game. I feel like I'm exploring this sector of space. I feel like I am in a race against time. I feel like I have to take advantage of the opportunities that I have in front of me and grab them before somebody else. But it isn't one of those games either where you just go up and grab something and now nobody can do anything about it. No, I mean, like, if you are the first person to explore those areas, yes, you get to do the exploration cards, but you don't get to retain that cultural influence. Somebody can come in and just blast it and take it out, and that's one of the wonderful things about games like this, games like Tau Ceti, where there's so many different ways that you can score points. I mean, you can just be a warmonger. You can hunt down other players and take them out, and you're debilitating them, causing them to have to slow down and not, be able to do everything they want to do. Because of the fact that they're constantly repairing, or because I forgot to mention, when you do defeat somebody, you get to take a prize. You get to take a commodity from them, or an exploration token, or one of these guys, the tokens that allow you to solve a crisis, if you will. And so you were actually, it's good to be a pirate in this game, but by the same means, it's like, if you can kind of be fast and maneuverable and stay on the outskirts and be, trading and getting lots of money for those extra points. I mean, that's like I said, a very viable strategy in the game. You can go that route. And that's one of the really cool things about it, is like each person kind of is allowed to explore the game and explore the star system of Tau Ceti and find their own way. This isn't a situation where there's just one direction that you're going to be going. And I realize that a lot of people are going to say something like, well, what does this game do that's different from whatever Exodus or Eclipse or whatever. I like this one because it's both macro and micro. And what I mean by that is that it is a macro feeling game where I am moving about different star systems, and I am doing global trading, and I am going on these missions and doing these things. But it's also micro. I have one ship. I have one thing that I'm doing, and it feels. There was an old game, I think it was called Privateer, that was on, and before that there were other ones. But I mean, I remember playing that on my old computer, and just one ship, doing everything, and having these space battles, and upgrading it, and doing all those things, and it feels that, yes, you're just one ship and one little person and one doing your thing, but you're doing something on a grander scale. I mean, the whole thing about solving the crises and solving the problems and exerting your economic and cultural influence. It's not just one ship, but it is, and I like that, and I enjoy that a great deal. Everything about it is there's nothing misplaced here. There's nothing that feels like it's clunky or cumbersome. It's yes, the rule set is a bit of a slog the first time you play it, but you can say that about nearly any game that is trying to take this sort of scope and present it. And honestly, it may be a slog, but it is, as I said, well worth it to get through it and get the game played and have a lot of fun. So there you go. If you like this type of game, if you like those Space 4X games, I strongly suggest that you check this guy out. I think you're not gonna be disappointed. It's just a lot of fun. So if you have any questions about Tau Ceti, I'm sure you might have one or two. By all means, ask away. I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.